Okay, hi everyone. It is Zoe Kirby here. I am trans, cripple, and caffeinated, and I'm not gonna lie to y'all right now. I am very, very afraid because the current Trump administration is on what I consider to kind of personally be a unprecedented war on disabled people in the modern era. You can look at a bunch of things where, like Robert RFK Jr.'s recent comments on autistic people, which I'm not going to be able to do a complete and worthy breakdown of. That's deserving of its own video. The way that the Doge and Elon Musk have spread incredible misinformation about Social Security. Check out this video from the Majority Report on that, from trying to close a bunch of Social Security offices. Like I said earlier, with the spreading of the misinformation on Social Security, you have people that are on a lifeline when it comes to being on Social Security, with Medicaid, and that tends to be one of the things that is on the chopping block. Now, don't get it wrong,
Oh,
Democrats are
Jesus.
just as complicit in this problem, in my opinion, because people like Joe Biden and those types of Democrats have kept the cutting of Medicaid, the cutting of these essential social safety net programs that people that who are disabled and who may not have another form of income, mind you. And there are a lot of restrictions that come with being on disability that people don't really talk about. So, in ways, Democrats have left that on the table, and you get comments from a Cory Bush that are talking about how they are lifelines, but I don't really see enough Democrats actively fighting for them as lifelines. Um, I mean, in my own state, um, there is millions of dollars in Medicaid that could be used because it's federally funded. I don't know how long that's going to be federally funded. That has just sat in limbo. And Laura Kelly has done a good job of running around trying to say, "Hey, we need to protect Medicaid. We need to fund Medicaid." So props on that, on at least on the state level. Anyway, it's a part. So what is going on in the Trump administration in incredible aggressive fashion is a couple of things. It is the continuation of a long-term Republican plan to basically completely gut government services and their ability to fund some of the most vulnerable people. In my case, the focus I want to give is disabled people with Social Security, so they can fund tax cuts for the wealthy, for people who are wealthy, for people who are billionaires, millionaires, corporations, things to that effect. But the thing I want to probably put a focus on in this video, and I just kind of wanted to give a little bit of background, at least with the current Trump administration. And don't get it twisted, Trump did this in his first term as well. I think he cut about $1 billion off of Medicaid. Um, so again, longer Republican project going on here, and I'm going to have some articles that will kind of describe that down in the comment section below. But I'm scared now for a different kind of reason, because just recently, maybe I don't know how long ago at this point, over a few days ago, the Department of Education announced that student loans are coming back due, which, regardless of how you feel about that, we can. I believe, just to get my biases out there, I believe in the full cancellation of student debt. I think there are parts of the conversation with student debt, in terms of the positive aspects of the current student debt crisis, when it comes to relieving that debt, would free things up economically that doesn't get talked about. I'm okay with student loan forgiveness, because if we can bail out massive financial institutions that are guilty of financial crime in 2008 and not try them to the tune of billions of dollars. I'd have to look at the numbers for that. Um, if we can give unlimited quantitative easing from the Fed to businesses that are struggling because of COVID, if we can give billions of dollars through PPP loans to corporations, I think that we can afford to bail out everyday Americans of all stripes who have student loan debt. Um, just to get my bias out of the way on that subject before I get to what I'm trying to say. Which this has been probably about 5 minutes of preamble to say that student loan debts are going to be coming due again, and they've been paused because of the moratorium. There was Biden administration work that was supposed to uh, alleviate about $10,000 worth of debt per student that I think got blocked up in course that never went through. And now with the new education secretary Linda McMahon, who is a controversial figure in and of herself. I'm probably going to be doing a video on her because I think I'm kind of interested in education and where that goes. With a lot of different things, you've got them talking about wanting to completely dismantle Department of Education. Again, another thing where they have its own video, but they have come out with the fact that they are going to start immediately wanting student loan payments to resume. They do not have, as far as I understand, come up with any new income driven plans for people who are poor and can't afford it. And they are going to be threatening, and this is going to be starting on May 5th, to start garnishing people's wages eventually up to 15%. And the thing that why I'm scared is that a majority of my income comes from Social Security disability insurance. I get money from Social Security to be able to survive on my day to day life. That money goes to me being able to afford food, gas, clothes, things that are necessities. And mind you, I don't get that much. About $120 of my benefits a month go just to pay for my Medicare, which in some ways is incomplete. And then if I want to get coverage for medications and things like that, I have to apply for either Medicaid, which you have to renew every single year, or you have to get prescription help, which I missed. But this, for me, is unprecedented, I think, in the Republican war against the disabled because they're talking about garnishing Social Security checks. And with no new plans on income driven plans that I will be able to get on, because I don't think they've announced if there's going to be new income driven plans. I don't know when they're going to. I'll look into that after the recording of this audio. But with no plans for there being repayment, um, with the permanent disability discharge being a thing that you are able to do, where if you can prove that you have a permanent disability to where it's going to affect your ability to repay your loans, those could be discharged. But, and I say, but, the Department of Education currently is not processing those permanent disability discharges for student loans, and they won't be processing those loans again until May of 2025. See this screenshot I put up above from the official page talking about this sort of thing. So you can apply for a permanent disability discharge, but those student loans ain't going away. And if you are like me, who has difficulty getting a job when you walk into a job interview with a cane, when people would rather just pass you by for job interviews because why would we hire this person with cerebral palsy when I can just hire an able-bodied person to do this job? Because a lot of business owners see disabled people as just straight up business liabilities, and uh, when we live in a culture that makes it so difficult to be disabled, Social Security is what I have to survive. I don't have any other incomes. And with there not being solid plans to enroll in for repayment, for there me not being able to have my application for permanent disability discharge to be processed because the Department of Education has said that it's not going to be processing those until the end of the year, and there are no options for me to be able to get my loans out of default in this current moment. I don't know what I'm going to do because they could garnish my Social Security checks just like I don't know how much they're going to take out, and $100 to that is a hit. Like for example, I had to pay $100 in my medication this month, If if I lose my disability money, that's going to be less gas in my car. That's going to be less food for me to be able to pay for. That's going to be if I want to go on a shopping trip and buy things for an apartment. Um, that's going to be less money for me to be able to save for an apartment. That's just going to come completely out of my social security check. And it seems to be very, very convenient to be a thing where they're punishing people for not being able to pay off their student loans, but also not allowing for any kind of path to be able to, at the very least, get on a plan to start repaying them. It's just draconian. I think it's regressive, and mind you, no matter what you how you feel about student debt relief, um, to begin with, um, that's going to have an effect. Just 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. My dog was taking a drink and I didn't want it to show up in the video. Don't worry. Dollar gets. I'm gonna have to edit this whole part out. But they are punishing disabled people. They are punishing people that have to go on Social Security, SSI, Social Security income to get by through a certain period. They're punishing elderly people for having student loan debt. Now, any other kind of debt can be alleviated, at least in a certain sense, through bankruptcy. You cannot file for bankruptcy with student loans. Now, I'm of the opinion that if the Republicans want to get rid of the Department of Education, if these MAGA fascists want to just completely abolish that part of the administrative state, then student loan debt should go away. But I don't think they want student loan debts to go away because they want to be able to pull even more money from the American public. That to me, I don't know. I don't know if it's a concerted effort or not, but it's just a continued piece of the war of Trump's regime's war on the disabled. And now I have to sit here and worry about, well, am I going to be able to afford food? Am I going to be able to pay for my medications this month? Am I going to be able to save for an apartment to be able to move? And I don't know what's going to be going on May 5th. And you would think an announcement like this, that they would give people enough time to be able to get things together and not say, okay, we're going to be doing this in about a month. I mean, I'm going to look into when this press conference was and give that information, but I don't think we were given enough time about that. So I feel very scared. I feel very dehumanized. I feel degraded because regardless of how you feel about student loan debt, like student debt and the student debt crisis, people still have to have money to be able to live. And when you have a situation where your body isn't able to work in the same ways that others are, getting a job is more difficult. People can make the argument of personal financial responsibility on, well, you've had these loans for how long? Why haven't you figured out how to keep them out of default? Which, I mean, is a point I think that you can make. I would think that these processes should be a bit more telegraphed. A bit, there should be more of a PR push for people to be able to get enrolled in these income-based plans. But at this point, like, okay, so let's say I want to be personally, like, I want to buy into the um, fiscal personal responsibility narrative, and I want to get my student loans out of default because I think that's financially irresponsible. If I believe that, I don't have any avenues to be able to do that. There isn't anything from the Trump administration that's an actual solution to the student debt crisis. That not only is it not a systemic solution to that problem, which I believe is through relief through what I would call like a student loan bailout. There isn't an individual solution. Their solution is punishment. The solution is, okay, you don't want to pay your student loans. You've been given less than a month. You've been given 2 weeks, or we're going to be garnishing Social Security checks. When for a lot of people, elderly people, disabled people, it's the only income we got. It's the only income we got, and it's not a lot of money. I mean, what are we supposed to do? And I just want to make this video because I wanted there to be an account of how this harms the disabled community. There are going to be I don't know how many disabled people there are who also have student loans, but if you've got student loans of any amount in default, they might be taking your social security check. Now, I don't know how much that's going to be. I might look to see what the Trump administration has to say, but in my own personal case, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. And I just want the world to know that I'm scared that this harms me financially for the bare essentials. And I don't agree with this student loan plan, and I plan on doing a video on student loans, on what the previous plans were going to be and potential solutions for that later on, and also expect a video on Linda McMahon and controversy surrounding her being unqualified as a Secretary of Education. This doesn't get us any closer to solving the student debt crisis. This doesn't get us any closer to understanding how that's going to affect the economy. That just punishes people. There's no systemic solution on the table here. That this isn't going to benefit the American taxpayer, in my opinion, because now even less money that people who are disabled have, who are already on a very fixed income, have to put into the economy on an individual level. So I'm afraid of how much money I'm going to be able to have in the future because of explicit policy choices made by Trump and the people that are in his cabinet. And we deserve dignity and the ability to pay our bills, the ability to pay for our medication, for our car payments, whatever it is that we've got going on, just as much as everyone else, even if it's coming from a government source, in my opinion. So let me know what you guys think of the recent policy decision from the Department of Education for the Trump administration to be, and I know I go back and forth on calling them an administration or regime. That is what I'm sorry about that. Um, Tell me what you think about it. If you disagree with my opinion on student debt relief, that's fine. Tell me what you think could be a good path forward for that down in the comments. Please like this video, comment on this video if you like the kind of content that I make that's trying to put disabled people here at the forefront. In this case, to be a a bit of a personal testimonial on what it's like to have to be on disability in America, mixed with a little bit of education at the fore about different student loan policies. But I think no matter what side of the political aisle you're on, I don't think you're going to be seeing this as necessarily a positive with like garnishment from people who are working 40 hours a week, less money in their pockets, coming forward, people like social security checks having their money garnished. And the thing is, just to close out the video, shouldn't there be that has Trump and his team announced where that money that they're going to be pulling from student debt borrowers is going to go? That's an important question. What are we doing with that money? So if you believe in the mission that I've got going on here, in these questions and trying to do honest political commentary and journalism, please support what we do here. I don't have a Patreon or anything yet, but I'm going to have those things set up very soon. And thank you for listening to my rant. I kind of wish I had made it shorter. There's parts I'm going to have to edit out, but I wish I had better things to have in the background for a video. But I haven't got a camera situation quite figured out just yet. So enjoy the audio, the video of me playing Pocket Morty late at night, and I hope everybody um has a wonderful night. And remember, nothing wrong. There is dignity in being disabled, and I hope everybody has a good rest of your day. Zoe Kirby, signing off.